Boris, my name is Kyrre. I am from Sámi, or the Norwegian part of Sámi, the land of the Sami, indigenous people of Europe.
Okay, wonderful. So, as you know, I have 12 questions that I want to answer. I actually thought up with 13, but
You can ask them.
we have time, you know. So,
Hmm.
my first question in semi spirituality, and if I say anything incorrectly, you can feel free to correct me because I might mess up some of the words. I don't have a lot of experience. I've only barely started learning the language. But
That's all right.
in Sami spirituality, how is the tripartite structure understood and how is it preserved today?
Well, first of all, there is one very important point about Sami spirituality or noaidevuođa, which is important to understand, and that is Sápmi is a very big area. So the Sami spirituality, it differs from area to area and also from family to family. So there is a lot of variation. So you can't say that this is it or this is the structure. But in general, there are three worlds: the upper world, which is the world of the godly, or the gods, and the middle world is more of the humans, and then you have the lower underworld, which is among others the world of the dead.
Okay. You mentioned like it varies from family to family. Is it more personal than, like, I guess you would say, more of the like modern organized religions, or?
Oh yes, it is, and it has always been a big variation. I guess today you can say, because of the sources we have, are mainly written by Christian people, that the sources makes it more uniform than it was. It was probably much more diverse than we see today, and also most Samis today live in the modern world. We have Western mindset because we were brought up Western mindset. So we tend to view noaidevuođa more. We try not to, but we tend to view noaidevuođa more from a Western point of view.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I was just wondering because okay. How do you interpret the role of the no Noaidi?
Noaidi.
Noaidi, okay. Historic historically, and which aspect feels most central now?
Well, the historical role is as an intermediary between humans and spirit, handling healing, divination, soul guidance. You can say that the ultimate goal of the Noaidi is to bring balance between human and nature, balance in nature, and balance between humans and the spiritual world.
This is more of a personal thing and related to that. But I was watching a video from someone explaining I guess it was like historical stories of that, and
Mhm.
he was talking about I guess one in history who someone wanted safe travel across the ocean, and he was able to control the wind. Is there places we can read stories like that, or just do you know anything about that story as well? I was quite interested.
I know the story, and there are several stories about this person. I can't remember his name right now, but I wonder if he was the one also who did it too strong. So the
Yes.
wind was too strong, and then he got accused of witchcraft. And as we know the story, um, those accusations often ended in that the person was burned alive. So yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, I know we're gonna get like, unfortunately, just because of how everything went in history, this might get dark at times, and but I
It is.
understand that.
It's basically the same stories that we find so many places in the world, in the Americas as well, both South and North Americas, with sad stories that happen there. It's a similar story in Sápmi as well, with boarding schools and stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm actually married to a Native American, so I unfortunately know a lot about that. But um, anyways, so the drum symbols vary regionally. How should we understand them? Like, what I was kind of going with that was like, not so much like shamanic drumming, but like the doji.
Duji,
Yes,
yes.
doji.
The handcraft. Well, the drum symbols, as you say, they vary regionally, and they are a map of the personal cosmology of the Noaidi. So you often find the three worlds on them, or in some sort, and you also find the directions um, on there, or the sun baby, which is also a very central symbol. Um, it's actually, talking about culture and American. I was talking to Ojibwe, a friend of mine, and we started talking about symbols and comparing them, and I could kind of read and understand the symbols in his culture, and vice versa. He could read and understand the symbols in my culture. So, but I guess those two cultures are both originated in nature. Culture comes from nature, so it's quite interesting to see the similarities and the understanding of the spirituality or religion. You can call it many names, um, but most of all, it's a map. It's a map between the worlds, from well, the natural world that we live in, and the other realms and worlds of the spirit world.
Oh, like the tripartite.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys actually call it that, but that's what I've been picking up kind of.
mainly. I guess there are. This is. I have no historical sources of this, but in my understanding, there are also more worlds. So there are some areas also. You can see the drums. They have 5 levels, and that corresponds with the other cultures that also has 5 worlds. So it's but mainly there are 3 worlds that we talked about.
Okay. I mean that kind of goes into the next question as well, but in traditional Sami belief, what happens to the soul after you die? Is there one afterlife, or are there different places depending on who you were or circumstances, or?
Um, I have to say that in this I am also thinking loud, because you have Saivo, which is the world of the dead, which is a mirror of this world, just better. The reindeer has more fat. They are bigger. The well, the grass is greener, you could say.
Literally.
And then there is mention another world, Yamme Aimo, which is the it's a gloomy place. It's a sad place. But I believe that Yamme is came after the Christianity came. So in the transition between noaidevuođa and the Christianity, there was the need to conceptualize the hell into Sami mythology. So originally, I think that it was only Saivo, which is a good place.
Sorry, I live with a lot of people, so I'm sorry if there's like background noise, but
That's all right.
Yeah, the
And
babies.
the Sami soul or cellular, which is the closest concept, is actually a tripart thing there as well, not just the worlds. So you have the body soul, which is what animates your soul. You have the free soul, which is the soul that leaves your body in your dreams, or if you are doing a drum journey. And we have to say something about drum journey as well. I'm sorry if I stray away from the question, but most people think that drum journey is a new age concept. It is not. At least in Sami culture, it's probably documented in other cultures as well. But in Sami culture, originally it was the Noaidi who did the drum journey. Today it's the participant. That's the difference. But it's a Sami concept, and probably from other cultures as well. But it's very well actually documented in the Sami history.
Well, I mean, I guess I'll just kind of like skip my other question for a second so I can go because it kind of leads into that.
I have to mention the last part of the soul, or just before we go to the next question. The last soul is the breath soul, which has to do with consciousness and animation. So yeah, it's a tripart thing.
Oh, okay. So that kind of extends into that in its own way then.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, no, and you're right what you said too, because also here in the Native American one, in their original belief system, which was of course suppressed and replaced by Christianity because that happened everywhere unfortunately, it was they also have a sort of drum journeying here as well, and it's
Oh,
very
really?
ancient as well. So
Yeah, and you can kind of start to think that there must be some kind of historical or physical connection, which might be. We don't know what happened 10,000 years ago, but I think that comes from when you culture, in my mind at least, comes from the environment you are in. So if you live in nature, your culture comes from nature, and therefore it will be very similar around the world. You can imagine like in ancient times, and somebody just killed some sort of animal, and they took the skin and skinned the animal, and then they threw the skin over like a hollow of tree trunk or something, just to put it there, and then they carried the meat home, and uh, took care of that, and then they came back the day after, and then they boom 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 boom, and that was the first drum. At least I imagine it might have been like that, how they discovered the drum.
that might have been how. That's a very interesting thing. I never really thought about that, but possibly.
Who knows?
Yeah, I know in some early cultures, for flutes and things, they used to take bones and hollow them
Mm.
out and poke holes in them, and that's how they discovered that. So quite interesting what could have led to that as well. Um, but before I go on to the next question, as I've been looking more into the culture greatly, I've noticed very prominently yoiking. Is that a spirituality thing, or is that just simply music?
It is very much a spiritual thing, mainly because when you yoik something or someone, it is not about that something or someone. It is the thing. So it's the kind of the cielo, the soul of the thing that you are yoking, the energy or the soul. Yeah, something like that. And again, talking about culture that comes from nature, also the yoiking comes from from nature. So the reindeer herders, when they were out, or when they were, even before we heard reindeers, when we just hunted the reindeers and roamed after them, you tend to express feelings and energy while in nature. I think most people maybe do this, that are allowed in nature. They start humming like because they're walking, and then suddenly it becomes something more.
Yeah.
Actually, my first where I can remember I got in a trance was the first time I heard Joiking on TV, and I thought, oh, I want to experiment with this. I was maybe 6 or 7 or something like that, or maybe even 5. And I had this old cassette recorder, so I wanted to record to hear myself how it sounded. And I pressed record and play as you do on a cassette. And I started yoiking, and then suddenly away I went.
Oh, so it kind of just came naturally like that then?
Yeah.
That's quite interesting.
So it is by the power of itself, it's a very spiritual thing, I would say.
Yeah, and I noticed because I do listen to it sometimes. I find it very enjoyable, but I noticed, and it's been mentioned before as well, but you I kind of feel just by listening to it what they're talking about and how it relates to the title of what it's about, even though most of the time I don't know the words. I can still kind of feel, I guess, like the energetic rhythm of what they're saying, if that makes sense. So I see why that's.
Yoik doesn't have many words anyway, especially the nature yoiks. Yoiks are not very often with words. And if there are words, there are just 2 or 3 or 5 words or something that kind of are repeated. So, and the words are not not that important. You can have for instance, if they describe a mountain, you can hear it in the way they are yoiking. So, no, 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 no. So that's the top of the mountain.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's interesting. Thank you. I didn't know that either. I was like, because I listened to it and I've had trouble learning the language because there's only so many, I guess, resources that I've been able to find for that. But for
Sami is a difficult language to learn, and there is a lot of Sami people who don't speak one of the Sami languages. Originally, it was 11. Now I think we're down to 9 because some of them died out. And me myself, I didn't grow up learning the language because, well, Norwegian governments eradicated a lot of the language and tried to Norwegianize people. And for a very long time, the generation before me, if they spoke Sami, they didn't learn it to the children because it was shameful to be Sami, which is most Samis today also have a Norwegian family name. Like I have a Norwegian family name from my father's side. But my family name it's also Jonsson or Johnson, as you would say that, which is a very Norwegian name. And the reason that most Samis had to change their name was if they wanted to own land, they had to change it. And also to kind of hide that they were Sami because it was shameful to be Sami. That's just how the oppression worked. unfortunately.
Yeah, I remember around the time that we left and moved to America, I believe our name was Olsson or
Yeah.
Olafsson. It was something like that. It was a Norwegian last name. So I,
Do you know your what your original Sami name was?
no,
No.
I have no clue.
Yeah, and Olsen is there's a million Johnsons or Olsons, and then it's so hard to find.
Yeah, because it was like we came there in like about 1860, I believe, and then but there was another side who came to America like in right in the beginning in the 1700s, and like before that everything just kind of just falls apart, and I can't find any more information. It's very difficult.
No, gene test is probably the way to go to try to find your family. When I took my gene test, I got a lot of surprises. So people I known for a long time was like, "Oh, we're related." Okay.
That's very cool. Where was I? Okay, well we went over, I believe, but I can ask anyways, but are there distinct soul concepts within Sami belief, and how do those relate to trance work?
Yes, that's what we were talking about, the free soul. And the free soul is able to leave your body. So I guess a modern concept is like out of body experience kind of thing.
Oh yeah, okay.
Um, and you can reach that through meditation, drum journeying, and also in your sleep. I remember I did this actually as a young kid a lot in my dreams and roamed around. And one time I came to a place where it was the upper world, but there was a giant there who found me. And they said, "You can't be here," and he took me and threw me. And as I fell down through the earth, I did see the roof, and I went through the roof, and I saw my body in the bed before I just woke up and was, "Wow, what is this?"
Oh my god. Yeah, I wow. Yeah, no, I love to hear those kinds of things because I had a very interesting experience. I mean, not quite similar
Mhm.
to that, but I was meditating, and it only happened once, but all of a sudden I was in this like bright summery place, and everything was like autumn. It was orange, and it was very beautiful, but it had a path that it led me down, and I could get into that because I met a being much more powerful than me, but I think I was gonna make a full video on that because it was like an entire experience, and it was interesting to say the least.
Sounds kind of like Saivo. The uh, today the concept of the world of the dead and the world of the living is kind of an apart thing. But originally it wasn't. It was kind of this two sides of the same world, two sides of the so that the veil between those worlds were a lot thinner that we tend to think about it today. So the spirit world and the human world was much closer.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, yeah, I'd asked like multiple people about it, and they were telling me all these different like places that they thought it was based on their belief, but I was like, I don't know, but I like that. I do want to look into that later. But oh, this one very important. So, what role do ancestors play in like ongoing life and belief? Are they like passive, active, or something else? How would you describe them?
Yeah, we were kind of starting to get into that. Ancestors is very much an active active guides and helpers. They are not passive at all, and they, as I mentioned, they form half of the family with the living. So they are very much possible to contact via rituals, and also they are inherited as helping spirits. So it's the ancestors can also be a helping spirits. There is a lot of, and now we're coming into helping spirits. There are a lot of helping spirits in Sami lore. You have animals, fishes, birds, and ancestors that are important helping spirits in also in everyday life. So it's the spirit world in Sami mythology and Sami religion is much more closer. So it's kind of, for instance, and this one is a small ritual that anyone can do. In ancient times, it was so that the ancestors, they lived up around the smoke ring in the level, which is similar to a teepee. And every time you have a fire, and if you have an ancestor that you miss or need to kind of ground yourself, if they liked something, for instance, chocolate, you could put some chocolate on the fire, and the smoke would take it up, so the ancestors again could taste it, because they can't taste and drink it like we do, but they can taste it through the smoke. And if they like to drink, you could put some liquor on the fire. Just be careful, because it will flame up, so don't burn yourself. Or if they like to smoke tobacco, you can put some tobacco on. It's or coffee, or so. And by that story, also I'm trying to convey how close the spirit world are. It's just up on around the smoke ring, so that's how close they are. Not in the world far away.
Like around us, connected to us still.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting we bring that up too, because like where I live, like ancestors, like in that aspect was not something you see very often at all, especially like, I don't know how I'd say it, but with my skin tone, it's just something that is not practiced at all. But when I was much younger, I had this, well, I still have it, but I had this like family photo album. It was huge. And there was this one picture, and I couldn't tell if it was a picture or a painting, but it was extremely old, and it just said mother. And that's all it said. But I was like, I felt really like connected, even though I didn't know anything. And I was able to search around my family and get the story later. But yeah, it just, I don't know, it really spoke to me, and in a way, like, I meditated before and stuff and asked for guidance, and like, I feel like signs sometimes, if that makes sense, like still reaching out. I mean, she died long before I was ever even born, like 1922. But yeah, it's just, but I feel weird when I think about it, because it's like, I don't see anybody practicing that, but to know that it is still something that is, done elsewhere is interesting to me.
Kind of embraced, or
Yeah.
yeah. In my world, this is just natural. It's just a part of every day, or not all the time, of course, but kind of every day. I try to, for instance, when I wake up in the morning, I try to do a small ritual where I light the candle, which is of course a modern iteration of the fire, and maybe light some incense, or we have we make incense. We use a lot of what's the name of that? Juniper. For instance, we use a lot in Sápmi, and we also have actually we also have sweetgrass growing in northern Norway, which surprised a lot of Native Americans when they come to northern Norway, and they say, "Wow, it's sweetgrass! It's smaller, but it's sweetgrass." In Sami language, it translates to smelling grass.
Oh,
because it smells good. It smells sweet.
okay, that's really interesting. I mean, well, you can't see behind me because I have a crib set up and everything because I have a daughter coming soon, but I actually have a lot of those things behind me that I usually do. I can't right now because my wife is pregnant, but I have incense and things that I burn and candles and a picture of that great grandma as well back there. So
Do you know what? How do you call that? A cradle. I guess you can translate it to a cradle ball. Kumsekule in Norwegian. You know the story about that?
no, what is it?
It is a ball. You can Google it. I will send you to it after, so you can show a picture in the video as well. But it's a silver ball that you put above the crib to protect the child from you could call it the little people, or you can compare it to that to some of the nature spirits, which aren't always benevolent. They can be quite the tricksters, so it's quite good to protect it. And also metal has a big role in Sami religion, for different kinds of protection. So silver is good. Brass can be used as well. Originally it was brass, but through trading the silver came in, so then it should change to silver.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was. I thought it might be something like a singing bowl because I'm like I do have one of those, but
No, it's just it's like a ball, a small ball. And you can also often see it in the Sami belts, and you can see it that it's kind of the string that you tie the belt with. Normally has that kind of ball in it.
yeah, okay, I have seen those, but on to the next one. Oh yes, this is another important one I believe. But so you mentioned when we were talking earlier before this that when I referenced baby that there is like a gender duality. So how would that be explained?
That is very interesting. Baby could be most of the sources names Baby today as a god. And as you already knew, because you named her a goddess, there is a duality there, and it has to do with how can I say that? It has to do with what kind of forces are in play. So the mild spring sun, for instance, is very much a feminine aspect. Sorry. Just give me a second. I'm sorry. I have
No, you're
to
okay.
turn off an alarm so it doesn't go off again in 5 minutes. There we go. Sorry. So it's very much the spring sun is very much a feminine aspect of things, while the rare, but it happens that we get to like 30 degrees Celsius in northern Norway. The sun is very hard. You get sunburned. That's maybe more of a masculine aspect. That kind of thing. And you have this even in Sami language, which is when you speak to a person or about a person, you say son. And son means both male and female. There's no difference there. So it's kind of floats over in language. And it isn't documented, but I believe most of the gods and goddesses have these duality, depending of the type of energy they are representing. I believe that the nature human has, and you can find that in other nature religion as well, that humans has a need to put a name on the different forces in nature, and if everywhere you go, you will find a name for the wind god, for instance, which is a very strong god in Sami lore, and you will find it in if you go to Nepal, you will find a wind god there. If you go to Ojibwe or Jalaki, Cree Indians, they will have. I don't know if they have some. I'm just guessing that they have a wind god, and there's a name for that there.
I'm not sure, but probably.
Yeah. As I said, now I'm guessing because I don't know, but everyone I've spoken to in different cultures, if the question came up or the discussion came up, they do have a name for the different nature sources.
I was just about to say something. Yeah, off script, but do you think like because most of the online sources, they don't say anything about that. They'll just say like, goddesses for each of them. Do you think? Because I was like thinking when you said it was mostly put there by Christians. Do you think that was sort of a, I guess, attempt to like further like smear the image of the belief?
Probably. We know that for instance, in the historical sources, the female Noaidis very, very rarely is mentioned in the history. And that goes, we know that in Sami culture, the women were very strong. Originally, it was the women who owned the reindeer. It was not the man, it was the women. And of course, women are the one giving birth. And there is also ancient stories about the first Noaidis were females. This is orally transmitted story, so it's never been written down. And when the missionaries came, they were not that interested in the maternal or side of things. They wanted the patriarchal thing, because Christianity is very patriarchal, at least how it's practiced. So they wanted to change the story to that. So yes, it's very, very much possible that Christianity took that away, that duality and the floating things. And we also know that from documentations that some of the Noaidis used the female Gakti to confuse the spirits, among other things. So I think that this gender duality that you find in the Sami, within the Sami mythology and the Sami religion, is something that's always been there and as a natural part of everyday life.
Okay, yeah, I like that because
You have the same thing. You have the world of the living, you have the world of the dead, which is kind of two sides of the same thing. And you have the duality with the gods, which kind of is the same thing. So you might say that gender is a construct that maybe weren't that important in the Sami, or it was not, at least not divided.
okay, yeah, no, I mean, I definitely like that. I noticed you kind of like we're struggling to say it because you're like, it's a divisive thing these days. But yeah, no, I definitely see that, and because the reason I brought that up is I'd recently done another video on
Mhm.
what used to be a associated with the Christian God before people came in and changed it, who was also a goddess, like a female one. But then when men started rising to power, they basically tried to strike her down, call her false, and just erase her, which they did for many centuries. But
I think I read something about that. Yes.
yeah, um, okay, I think we already talked about the semi-spiritual concept with animal spirits.
Yeah, we just pretty much talked about it. You could say that I can be a little bit more specific. You have in some lower bears is very important bears for strength. Before noaidevuođa, it was what we call the bear cult, or the bear religion. It's more accurate to say because cults today has negative notation. um, and the bear was also it was so important that there was a lot of rituals uh, that went into the hunting of the bears, and the bears was also mentioned as a brother of humankind. So when they went out and hunted the bear, for instance, they didn't name the bear for a bear. There's always these euphemisms, the old man with the fur coat or things like that, so the bear wouldn't understand that they were hunting him. And when they came back, they had to go through in the level. There's two entrances, one in the back, in the bathroom and the kitchen, which is a smaller one. So when they came back, they had to go in through that one. And well, yeah, a lot of rituals went into this. Bear for strength. In the spirit world, birds, noaidology, fish or snakes in the underworld. Reindeer could be used in more spiritual battles. Reindeer ox, and every diving animal. So, for instance, the loon could go into the underworld because they could dive down. And one of the entrances to the underworld was through sacred lakes. And these lakes had like a double bottom, kind of. So that was one of the ways into the underworld, into side where you could go into, and you often then used a bird as an aid, or to aid you and protect you in the spirit world.
Okay, yeah, I'd heard about the importance of bears, and so I was glad you were able to enlighten me on that a little bit, as well as loons, because I didn't know why, but I saw that they're important, so that was very helpful as well. Sorry. Um, did you want to talk any more about how Christianization kind of alter beliefs and divine beings apart from just suppressing and many of the other terrible things that went on?
Yeah, when the Christians named noaidevuođa, and actually all nature practices as witchcraft, and it kind of cycled the afterlife from cyclical continuity to more of a heaven hell dualism. So that's the main kind of difference, because in Sami mythology, the there is a continuation, so the spirits could come back after some generation, for instance, and inherited. So in Sami name giving, if you recognize a spirit in a newborn child, the child was named after this forefather or ancestor.
Yeah. Um. hmm. This is off record again. I'm sorry, but I just have
No,
to.
I was straight even more.
No,
So
it's just I just have to bring it up. But how do I say it? So one thing I noticed over here in in America, and it kind of made me sad in a way, but they had this Christmas event, right, at a church
mhm.
where they're going to be doing, raffles and giving away toys to the kids and stuff. And I have a 6-year-old, so I'm like, I don't really like going into churches, but we'll go, And so we went, and then it turns out it was like a full Native American church, right? And I noticed they were singing like traditional style songs, right? But now they were to Jesus, and I felt really weird about it. But I wanted to ask because they had been suppressed from their religion and practices and everything, and they passed that down through generations. And from what I heard from a Sami person who was kind of going back to their original historical beliefs, that she is now, but she found it very difficult because everyone around her was Christian and was like, "Why are you doing that? Like, it's weird." Is that something that's still kind of affecting you guys as that everybody's now like, "Oh, we're Christian now. We're not that stuff anymore because it's bad," and they're just willingly doing it?
Most Samis are today Christian, and one of the things that is happening in every people that is being suppressed or marginalized and have had their cultural tried to be eradicated. Um, you have something called lateral violence. So it's violence, not physical necessarily. Could be words. It could be condemning between people. So Sami against Sami. Unfortunately, that's one of the symptoms of this of our history. Just how it is, and you will find that in a lot of indigenous communities as well. You will find lateral violence. Um, and yes, it's very hard. It is easier for me since I grew up with a Norwegian father who kind of didn't want anything to do with the Sami culture. That's my personal history, but it is easier for me than a lot of Samis who grew up in a Sami environment because of this condemning between people. And I have spoken to um, there is a continuation of Noaidis into the Christian lore, and they are called Guvlar in North Sami, or you can translate it as readers, because reading verses is a part of our healing methods, and has always been. So they kind of are they are still feared by other Samis, but they also use them for healing, to, among other, stop blood. There's actually hospitals. Sorry, if I stray away from the story again. There's actually stories about in the hospital in Tromsø. If they have a bleeding that they cannot stop, they called Govlar to have the blood stopped. So that's how strong they are. And I know several of them, and we have a very good relation. Um, and they say to me that yes, I am Noaidi. They will never admit it publicly. I am Noaidi. I'm a Christian Noaidi. I use Christian words and Christian verses, uh, and I one of them even said to me, "I envy you." Uh, not in a bad way, but I envy you that you are able to stand out and stand straight and do this. I cannot, because of what would happen to me and my life in the village I live in. So it's a sad story and it is hard, but still there is and now I'm going to say something controversial. Is thank the gods and goddesses for New Age, because that's what's bringing the original faith back. Slowly, 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 and so all the Samis who are kind of going back to the original culture, going back to what their you could say their blood tells them. Uh, so when you in society has a slower direction, I mean, New Age is a lot of things wrong with New Age. A lot of things. Let's not go into that. I think we kind of agree on that, but it kinds of given direction to people who are searching for something else than the churches. Uh, the difference between New Age and the original Noaidevota, the original belief is New Age is more an individual direction, while the Noaidevota is more society based. So it's you do what's best for society, not best for you. Um, that's one of the main differences. But this direction means that slowly the drums are coming back. The museums are asking to get all the drums that got stolen not burned, because there was a lot of drums that got stolen also, and there was this whole trade from between missionaries that sold drums or gave them away as gifts to achieve more benefits or more power to powerful people. Germany has some Sami drums. They have started to give them back now, and the Sami people themselves, as a general, has started to take an interest in the drums and interest to bring them back, which just 10 years ago would have been impossible because of the Christian faith.
Oh, so it's very new then that you've been able to
Oh
kind of
yes, yes,
feel.
yes. It's you know f- the people who followed Noaidevota or followed the old ways, they needed to hide that, because it was a question about life and death, as simply as that. Then later, um, when uh, uh, when it kind of wasn't a life and death question, you needed to hide it because of the society you lived in, the village. If they knew that you had a drum under the kitchen floor, they would condemn you. You would be, frozen out from the village. So, as I talked about, lateral violence, and you still have that today in some of the Sami communities. You have this tendency to freeze out if you don't follow the herd, kind of. So it's a very known history. It's happens all over the world. The Samis are no different in this.
I mean, okay, wow. No, I haven't
It's a
been.
it's a symptom of oppression.
So yeah, but okay, no, this is this is very eye opening because I haven't been I guess as exposed as most people to this kind of thing. I mean, even though I'm not Christian myself, obviously I keep beliefs to myself, but I didn't know that, it started off with, others like the Christians, the people from the foreign beliefs, suppressing you until it became so baked in that it was then yourselves fighting to keep the old ways pushed down. That was
Yes.
eye-opening.
And you will find this if you look into other cultures who has had a similar history. You will find the same thing there with lateral violence. But slowly it is turning away, and it kind of becomes more acceptable. In Norway, we started this. Well, it sounds stupid in English, but shamanic association, which got accepted as a religion in 2012. And that meant that actually there was a ban on the drum that was 300 years old, and it was a sleeping rule, but it was never removed until 2012 because the government accepted noaidevuođa as a religion, and so it got protected. And now there is also another society, Sami belief, that has been started by other Sami people. So it's slowly rebuilding, but it will take probably 300 years to rebuild, because it took 300 years to kill it, or they couldn't kill it by 300 years, but it needs rebuilding.
Yeah, no, I mean that's another reason why I'm doing this, is to further help push the awareness, I guess, because I know, like, I know it's been suppressed, and even though it's something personal to me that I want to learn about, I feel like we need more voices talking about it so we can get more awareness out there, because it wasn't. Yeah, huh?
Yeah, definitely. It needs talking about, and I know there is a lot of Sami people in the States as well who are reconnecting with the religion and learning about the drum again, and learning about the culture. So yeah.
Yeah, that's part of the path that I'm on as well. Is trying to get back. I mean, we're almost done here, so we'd actually just completely talked about the next question as well. But
I would like to say something that might be controversial over there, but in Sami tradition, we do not have blood quantum. You either are Sami or you're not. You're not half. You're not 1/4 or 1/8 or 1/16 or whatever. You either are Sami or not. And normally, when people present themselves as oh, I'm 1/16 Sami, I normally reply, which part? Your little finger, or so. But the message and the reason I'm saying this is to tell you, not only you, but all reconnecting Sami, it is your birthright to take the traditions back. It is your birthright.
okay, yeah, I was actually going to ask something about that, because I did read that it wasn't necessarily blood quantum, because over here with the Native Americans, it's like, what percentage of your blood, though, and that's what makes whether you are or you're not. But I'm none of that, of course.
The really horrifying thing is that the blood quantum is a white thing. It's not originally a Native American thing. As far as I know, and as far as I understand, it is a white invention, which got adopted by a lot of Native Americans because it has to do with rights or money. So correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my understanding of it.
I would say most likely yes. I mean, from from what I'm understanding, you know, race as a concept is it was something to used in the sense of racism to separate people. Not as at first it was socially, but then as governments began to spring up, it was more of a federal thing, a legal rights, what you can and cannot do, and things like that. So yeah.
So in submit today, you will find black, or do you say black now? Yeah. I'm
Oh,
sorry if English is not my native language, so if I jump into any
I mean,
and
over here we do like African American, but if you are someone who was
African
that,
Samis then,
huh?
African Samis then,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Again, I'm sorry if my language knowledge isn't good enough to express myself correctly. Or you can find South American, because you can also be, if you are adopted in to the Sami community, you are also Sami. So there is this Swedish Joiker who's called Jon Henrik Fjellgren, which is he's adopted from South America, but he's Sami.
What was his name again?
Jon Henrik Fjellgren.
I've
I can
heard that name.
I can send you a link for it afterwards.
Yeah, I've heard that name. I just don't remember where, but I do listen to the music sometimes, the yoik, so that's probably where. Um, okay, I mean, that's pretty much it because we also were able to distinguish the difference between Sami shamanism from the New Age shamanism, but also I'd also like to close out with this especially, but what ethnical or even ethical boundaries should scholars, artists, or spiritual seekers observe when engaging with Sami sacred belief?
That is a very big question.
I know. I'm sorry.
I I I think that most people, especially if you're a scholar, you tend to have a Western mindset, and Western mindset is often brought on from a Christian upbringing, or at least the society is very built on the Christian mindset. Um, Heaven and hell concept, good and evil concepts. And I think that at least the researchers should try to understand this. And as far as I know, they most of them do. That they cannot explain or understand everything from a Western concept, because it is a source of a lot of errors and a lot of wrong things. When trying to understand religion, as we talked about the goddesses and things like that. That's what might be. Of course, yeah, you need to respect that what is sacred. Sami religion. You should be Sami to practice it. But I guess if you are sincere, it doesn't matter where you come from. If you really are sincere in your
Does that kind of tie into the blood quantum aspect?
yes, and to some extent, you should have Sami consent. I would react badly to person with no Sami inheritance or no Sami genes at all that are teaching noaidevuođa, for instance. I would kind of not like that. Whereas as is the same person who just practicing noaidevuođa to himself, because it's mainly a practice you do to yourself, or it's something to do with you and the forces of nature, the gods and goddesses and spirits. I don't have any problem with that. Some might do, but as far as I don't call myself Noaidi or shaman or things like that, and traditionally it's not something you put on yourself as well. It's something else, somebody else give you. Talks about the ass. But there is traditionally two ways to become a Noaidi. It's either through inheritance, family lineage, or a call from the spirits, which has some significance also how that call is. But I believe that the respect is the main thing here, and maybe, for instance, I once met the bishop, and the difference between the way he is praying and the way I am praying is a lot of big difference, because our prayers can be through actions, it can be through yoik, and it doesn't especially have to be, dear God, give me this and this. It can be an expression of joy. It can be an expression of life, expression of a feeling, which can also be a prayer, or it can be to help someone, of course, also. But so the Sami concept of religion is a lot bigger than maybe the Western and the Christian mindset is. For instance, at least in my practice, and I believe in most people who practice noaidevuođa, they work more with the spirits of the place than the gods and goddesses. Oh, the gods and goddesses are there by all means and are celebrated and venerated. Is that a correct word?
Yeah, but venerated, honored. I get worship, but that's more of a Christian kind of word for it.
Yeah,
different.
Around summer solstice, for instance, or winter solstice, there are big celebration of the goddesses and gods. Devi in the summer and Manu, the moon, in the winter. I'm sorry, I strayed away in my thoughts there. So when you are taking the steps towards noaidevuođa and try to understand Sami shamanism, and I say shamanism because shamanism is a Western, or well, not originally, but today it is a Western world, which the anthropologists started to use on comparable indigenous religions. So noaidevuođa is noaidevuođa. It's nothing. It's not. But shamanism it's the word that is best fitted on it today. Yeah, they need to understand that it is not something that it's set in stone. It's a living concept, first of all. So that means that my noaidevuođa and your noaidevuođa can be a lot of difference there, because there's a lot of personal things. But the ultimate goal is to support the society.
Instead of like self, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that's gonna be it. But I do want to say is there anything else that you want just people watching or the world or anyone who's going to see this in the future to just, I guess, know?
And not that I can think about, but read about it. Stay close. Yeah, there is one thing I would like to say, and that's to all people, whether your culture is Sami, Western, Polish. there is because all people have these original beliefs, original religions, and the knowledge to this religion, even if all the sources are gone or desecrated or destroyed, the knowledge is in the blood. The knowledge is still there. It's inherited through all the people that went before us. So everyone can kind of find back to their nature-based religion through looking into it. Just to remember not to. It's not an individual thing. It's a society-based thing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's it. But I mean, thank you really, because I've been looking forward to this, and I definitely appreciate this. And you taking the time. It's been an hour and 25 minutes total that we've been talking about it. So I mean, but yeah, genuinely thank you, and I'll certainly be in touch as well, because I'm sure there's a lot more that I could learn, and I really enjoyed talking to you though about this.
Great. I can send you a little bit more about Sami lore and Sami religion and how it's built up, and some of the story of it as well.
And the Cradle ball.
Oh yeah, Cradle, and there was one other thing. Jon Henrik Filgen, yeah. Joiking.
Yeah, I'll definitely be asking if any of those things, because I'm yeah. But.
Great. Hope you had some of your personal questions also answered.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was just really trying to, because I was looking into the belief, because after I had taken, I guess, years to break apart the Christian mindset that I was brought into and born into with where I live, right? I mean, I was trying to grasp some of it, but there's just so little information online from where I'm at, and some of it's like conflicting, and it's hard to know what's the truth and what's not, and that's
all the sources are written by Christian people, so you kind of have to take the Christian glasses off and read it. So yeah, it is a hard thing, and then that's the thing. But trust what your blood is telling you, and that's the only thing you can do, actually, because there is no way of know for certain. Sacrificing is a big thing in Sami lore. You don't have to kill animals. That's and that's another thing that I didn't mention. But the noaidevuođa of today is, we are not practicing it as it was 400 years ago or 1,000 years ago, because society has evolved, and that's one of the things that's kind of signifies a living culture. It kind of evolves from what the rest of the society is as well. So it's not a reconstruction, and in my mind, it shouldn't be, because there is no point in practicing 400 years like Christianity tried to do that. Oh, they say, oh, Christianity is 2,000 years old.
No, it definitely changed and evolved over time.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. We are registered in Norway as a new religion. I was like, well, history says it's 30,000, 75,000 years old, and you call it a new religion.
The new old religion, yeah.
Yeah. But butter is one of the things that are used in sacrifice. I can't remember what it is. Sorry,
You're referring to during the winter solstice, butter is smeared across the door,
yeah,
right? Or
not
for
not 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 in solstice, but you have in what is that name of that tree? It's when the sun comes back, because you have the sun is not in the north. Above the Arctic Circle, the sun is away for some part of the year. So when the sun comes back, we offer butter. And also on summer solstice, traditionally, butter was eaten and given to the gods as well.
Okay.
So butter, and there is a tree. I'm trying to find what it is in English. Alder, I think. Yeah, alder. If you take the bark of alder and you boil it, that's how we made the paint for the drum, by the way. So it will become red. And that is the same as blood. So we use sadis, the stones, sacrificial stones, to bring offerings like horn or meat or fish or blood originally, but you can use the older decoction as blood. Fish oil was given. Milk, originally reindeer milk, but also sheep's milk, cow milk today. But never give milk to the water. That's a taboo. You can give milk to the stone, but not to the water. Do not mix milk and water.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
it's offensive to the spirits. That's just one of the taboo that exists. But you could use milk. You could use liquor like vodka or something and give to the deity. It's also a good thing
Okay.
in your practice. Do you have a deity?
No.
No. A deity is a stone. I guess you might have kind of an altar, so you can have it there. It doesn't actually have to be a stone. Also, it could be a tree trunk, or you can make a statue if there is something, some god or goddess you want to worship, and you can give them, which would also be a deity. But a deity is a stone that is different from the other stones. So it's kind of a big stone normally. A lot of them are parted. So there are two parts that is broken apart, and you can give things into the hole between them. Coins, I use a lot. Coins I use a lot when I'm fishing.
Quartz, you said?
Coins. So when if I go fishing, I don't know if you fish, but if you go fishing, I give a few coins to the water, to the spirit of the water. Some cents, or just give them. There you go. It's an offering. For fishing luck, you can have luck in family life or things like that.
I have fished before, but not very often, unfortunately.
No.
Only once or twice.
It's I guess it's one of the things we have a lot of people have lost. Not in where I live. It's quite a lot of people fishing.
No, I heard it's one of the most prominent places for fishing.
Oh yeah, my I have several drums, but my main drum or kind of a ceremonial drum. I have drums for music. I have drums for different purposes. But my ceremonial drum is a traditional bowl drum, but it has halibut skin, which is kind of unusual. So fish skin. So it's definitely a sea drum.
I like that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I think I do. What time is it? Yeah, I unfortunately have to go now because my kid and
No
wife
problem.
have to sleep and I have work in the morning.
Okay. Have a nice night. Sleep well.
You too. Thank you so much. Honestly.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye. You have a good rest of your day as well.
I will. Cheers.
You as well. Bye.